So, good morning for all those for whom this is morning, and greetings to all those who are in different time zones, whether it's evening, nighttime, afternoon. Yeah, really wanting to welcome all of you, all of us into this space this morning. And yeah, thank you, Clive, for that technical note. I also noticed that the participant counter doesn't seem to be working this morning. I have to have a sense of kind of all of us here without having a number. Well, that's an interesting thing already. Yeah? Anything different, new is a opportunity um, for a practice. And yeah, really glad to be here on this slightly cloudy morning here in West Dorset in the UK. Our time together today will include, as always, some reflection on the theme of this week and then a practice together and some time um, for questions and responses at the end. And beginning just by appreciating the community, appreciating this opportunity to come together, to practice and to explore these beautiful and profound teachings that are such a support for many of us in our lives and in these times. So, yeah, day 4 of this week. It's going quite quickly. And um, for me at least, I'm wanting to expand, deepen our, um, our exploration. We've been really exploring how this habitual presence of push pull, of clinging, supports the building of dukkha, of ill being, of stress, of distress, of unease in our experience, and how that push pull, that build up is rooted in um, this kind of the contact through the senses with the world, with experience, including internal experience, and then that classification of phenomena into pleasant and unpleasant. So just to remind or to say for those of you who may have joined us for the first time this week, that sense of like, this contact with the sound, with the sight, the taste, with the smell, with kind of through the sense of touch or through the mind, with the phenomena. And then with that contact, this classification, pleasant, unpleasant, or not strongly one or the other, so somewhere in between. And then the push pull on experience of holding on, grabbing on to what we perceive as pleasant and pushing away the unpleasant. And then from there, building a sense of self for whom this is happening, or for whom this belongs to, and dukkha from there. And, you know, I can't repeat this enough. I've been saying it almost every day. This is so key to our understanding and so fruitful to contemplate and to practice with, because anywhere along that progression, yeah, we can let go of the clinging, we can put down, unhook, um, and then linger as we were doing yesterday. Feel the release, feel the relief, and feel that kind of capacity to rest into that relief and release, into that well-being that opens up when the clinging and craving, when the push-pull are reduced to some degree. So I want us to linger, to stay a little bit more with that classification, which is a more subtle aspect of the experience than the push-pull. That classification into the pleasant, unpleasant in particular, because again, the in-between is more subtle. And to really remind ourselves this is not real. The mind will put that label, we'll classify very, very quickly, unconsciously. Yeah, this happens below the layer of consciousness, yeah? Subliminal. We're not, it happens so quickly, so immediately, and it happens with everything. This classification will be added to the phenomena. Um, and it's not real and it's not fixed. Yeah? It changes. It changes. And therefore, it's also changeable. It's really important to remember with things that change, which is everything, also changeable through how we relate, through our degree of interest, and through um, capacities that we develop in our meditation practice. So, not real in the way that we take it to be, and changing and changeable. When I just give an example, there's just remembering this story that I think a taxi driver was telling me a while ago. Lives in a small town in southwest England, I think in Newton Abbot it was, in Devon. And he was telling me how um, they had this annoying sound coming, from close to their house. He and his wife lived close to the high street, and there was this, high-pitched, unpleasant sound coming from a building near them around the corner, and unpleasant, right? It was unpleasant sound, and then they realized it was the sound of ospreys, the very large um, bird of prey, quite rare and beautiful. And, suddenly the sound became pleasant because, oh, wow, there's ospreys nesting on this building, you know. Um, I think it was above a bank or something. And suddenly it became a pleasant sound. And then they found out that it wasn't real ospreys. It's a machine making the sound to keep the pigeons away so they wouldn't poo on the windows. And it became unpleasant again. So we see, yeah, it's not real, it's not permanent. How we relate to it, what we think it is, and then that changes the relationship. It actually changes how a sound can be perceived from pleasant to unpleasant. And I know for myself, I've certainly had that, especially with often with birds. Realizing a sound is a bird makes it pleasant for me. Really interesting. Yeah. Really, really interesting. So we can see not real in the way we take it to be, changes, changeable, and this gives us a lot of opportunity. And it also points to being able to go beyond this habitual realm, unintentional realm of preference, yeah, that leads to dukkha of both, fixing something as unpleasant or pleasant, and then relating to it through this whole dynamic of the push-pull, the clinging, the craving, and the building of dukkha. And we can practice with it. We can learn how to attend to it in ways that deepen insight, that deepen freedom. Yeah. And again, this is, it's not saying everything that's unpleasant, we should just kind of pretend it's not unpleasant. Sometimes, it needs us to do something about it. But this is a way of relating that we can bring into our formal practice and then extend into life in ways that support our capacity to respond. Yeah. Really important to say that. So it's a way of looking, it's a methodology of awakening. Yeah. To start to learn how to work with this. Start to learn how to work with this. And so the methodology of practice, what that we will be exploring today, is a letting be. Yeah, so we've been exploring letting go. It's a letting be of the whole range of experience, um, without getting pulled into the push and pull. And so this is in the service of something. It's kind of developing these muscles. It's like we're in the letting go gym today, yeah, to develop these muscles so that then we can bring them in appropriately in different areas of our lives. And so it's a kind of a letting things be, welcoming, yeah, our experience to arise, to be, and to pass in its time without falling into those habits of pushing away, pulling towards, yeah, kind of without being dependent and not letting our experience be prescribed by our habits of categorizing, classifying. This is pleasant, this is unpleasant, and therefore this is the response. And therefore, not letting our experience be defined by the clinging and the habitual patterns that go with it of building dukkha. So we're opening up the freedom to attend skillfully, bringing appreciation to what is beautiful and nourishing and wholesome in our lives, and bringing compassion towards that which is difficult and painful and unpleasant in our lives. Yeah. Um, but mostly, primarily today, what we're going to be emphasizing in the practice is that capacity to let be. Yeah, to let be. So what we're letting go of is that habit of contraction, mm, and classification, and the prescription that then follows on. Therefore, the experience will flow this way. Mm. And it's a practice. Not saying this is how you need to live your life all the time, but this is a practice that we are doing in our formal practice, and this both goes against the habits of our conditioning. And so we're kind of opening the range, working in the letting go gym, the letting be gym, to open up the range, to develop more muscles, to develop more possibilities, so that we can attend skillfully to our experience, skillfully and appropriately. So I hope that makes sense to all of us, or at least to most of us, or at least to some degree. And let's practice together. So if you're not already in your meditation posture, then finding it. And whether you are already in a meditation posture or you're just attuning to one, finding one, in both cases, taking this opportunity to check in with the body and to make any adjustments, any fine tuning to the posture so that the body is as balanced and stable and steady as possible. You can also check in with balance between uprightness and ease in the posture. You do this. And inviting the awareness and the attention more fully and deeply into the body. It's helpful using the sensations of contact between the body and that which supports the body, the seat, the ground, the mat. Just letting yourself be supported by the contact, rest into it. Perhaps feeling the whole base of the body. And gradually opening the awareness, softening the awareness through the body, getting a sense of the whole body. And awareness softening, opening through the body space. Including the whole body. Tuning in to remembering this practice or intending this practice as an act of kindness towards yourself, towards others in the world. Just taking a few moments to feel that intention. Feeling its presence in the space of awareness in the body. And finding the appropriate anchor for attention for this time, the sound, the breath, the body, or metta for those who know metta. Whatever anchor feels most appropriate, helpful right now. Opening to the presence of the anchor, its arising, how it's known in awareness, and how it changes, flows, whether that's the sensations of the breath or the body, the sounds, metta phrases. Tuning in particular to the flow, rising, changing, and perhaps passing, disappearing of the anchor as it fluctuates through attention. And just gently attending to that. Let's kind of take some time in silence to establish the practice in this way, opening to the anchor of attention that you've chosen. keeping the awareness wide in the body, noticing its fluctuations. What's unfolding in experience right now? Releasing the struggle, if there's any, meeting this experience. The body here, the anchor of attention here, the intention of kindness here. Letting go into the moment again and again. Opening to the anchor of attention. Welcoming it to come. Welcoming it to be. To change and also to go in its time. Feeling any ease that opens up as we do this. Might be very subtle, very gross, or anywhere in between. Feeling any ease and lingering with it, letting it nourish you. All of it. Now, as you attend to the anchor of attention, welcoming it as it arises, as it's here, letting it be. As it changes, letting it go. Again and again, this breath or sound or metta intention, this body sensation, whatever it may be. Allowed to arise, welcomed to be, and welcomed to change again and again. Continuing to practice in this way, opening, softening, allowing. If it's helpful, continuing primarily with the anchor of attention. As allowing it, welcoming it to be known, to arise in awareness. Welcoming it to change and to be. If you're feeling relatively steady with the practice, you can open to particular aspects. Noticing what happens when we turn to the pleasant aspects of the anchor of attention or of attending right now. That might be softness of the breath, or the particular vibrations of sound, or the warmth of the metta intention, whatever we're using. And opening to that, receiving it, welcoming it to be, to arise, to change, not demanding anything. And feeling any ease that opens up as we practice in this way, lingering with that. We can similarly practice with the mildly unpleasant. Perhaps there's an aspect of the breathing or of the soundscape, the body experience. It might be something that's mildly unpleasant, and what happens when we welcome that too. Exploring, welcome to come, it's too welcome to come, to be, to change and go. And opening to any ease that arises as we practice in this way. So with the pleasant, with the unpleasant, or both. Welcoming, allowing, letting it be, letting it go. Sensitive to any well-being that arises as we practice in this way. This moment of experience and this one. All the aspects of this moment welcome to arise, to be, and to change in their time. This whole dance of life, this whole dance of life, welcomed, dwelling in any well-being that arises. When we practice in this way and feeling the peace that opens up when we let go of struggle. So taking your time with the transition, not rushing as you take your time to open the eyes, perhaps to move the body, change the posture. And if possible, having that same thread of interest, of curiosity. Just letting it in, whatever the experience is, letting it in, letting it be, and letting it go. All welcome. And so in a few moments, we'll open to questions and see if there's any questions or reflections on the practice today. Before doing that, a reminder about dana and this beautiful form of letting it in, letting it be, and letting it go of practice called dana, letting in the sense of preciousness and mutual support. And then kind of letting go in the form of giving our support. Yeah, letting go of what I know we may see as ours and just sharing it in the big hour, not just mine. And these sessions, as we know, are offered in this spirit of mutual care, mutual support. And whatever you can offer this week is very gratefully received, both to cover the costs of Sangha Live in hosting and offering these sessions and in supporting me in my livelihood. So the link to the Dana page of Sangha Live is there in the chat. And if you follow that link, you'll find all the practical details. So if there's any questions or reflections, really happy to receive those through the chat. If you can put question or reflection in capital letters, at the beginning of your chat message that allows me to notice um, and to know which ones are kind of particularly needing my attention. And so let's see if anything comes. I'm seeing that there is a message there that somebody lost transmission. I hope it's not everybody and that you are still here with me, but let's see what comes. Anyone can give me a hands up that you're still there. That's always helpful. And with the questions and reflections, as always, everything is welcome. So, um, whether it's yeah, great, thanks, guys. Whether it's a reflection, whether it's a question about our, our practice and kind of teachings today, or it's a general question about practice or about anything we've explored this week, it's all really welcome. And thank you. I'm seeing the messages that you're all still here. So hopefully Kaz um, is also with her. Yes. Mm, yeah. And that message from Kaz, lost again, reminds me of the great line from Lord of the Rings, which I often think is so relevant to our practice. Not all those that wander are lost. Really interesting on so many levels. One is that's a different way of relating to our mind when it wanders. It's not lost, it's just wandering. Yeah, it can come back again and we can bring it back. And also, wandering through life and not necessarily lost, it's just part of our path, part of our exploration. Yeah. And so a reflection from Elizabeth there. Thank you for the instructions and guidance. I found that simply staying with what was arising quietened the constant commentating voice in me. Yeah, that's a relief, isn't it? It's wonderful. And just that sense of, here it is, and it's welcome. Yeah, yeah. Is it can be such a helpful place and such an easeful place, and then interestingly support us to stay steady with our attention because we're not trying too hard to do something else. Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful practice. This letting it in, letting it be, letting it go. Yeah. There's a question from Elena. I'm feeling numb this morning. Any suggestions on what to do with that? Yeah. Thank you, Elena. Yeah, there can be different degrees of numbness and different reasons for it. Um, and they can be helpful to just reflect for yourself, get a sense of what that is. Is the body numb? Is it more the emotional numbness? Um, is that just kind of the frequency of the experience right now, that there's not a lot going on and it's being categorized as numbness? Or is that actually kind of, is there something underneath? Often with numbness, there'll be something underneath that which kind of we're disconnected from, which can be a helpful response sometimes, um, and sometimes less helpful. Very poor sleep, yeah, yeah. So I would say like compassion and care to that experience, yeah, and say, there's numbness, there's not much there, but there's tiredness here, yeah, and I can get a sense of that. Can I bring a sense of care and compassion and tenderness to that, and almost like bathe it with care and warmth and love, that sense of the tired body and the kind of numb, not very clear mind. That would be one thing, and the other is to actually maybe imagine that kind of care and kindness as light coming in and kind of invigorate in that way. So having a sense of the warmth, but the warmth is a warm light. That's kind of, and I'm doing this because an upward motion can be helpful with that. So it might be coming in from the bottom, from the base of the body, rising up. through the body. So those are some ways of working with that. Um, and I hope that responds to you. And I see there's also a question from Nika. Do you use the same instruction with thoughts? Yes. Yeah, definitely. Usually with thoughts, we would say, get some steadiness with the anchor of attention or with less tricky and sticky phenomena like the body for most of us or sounds, and then open up and expand to thoughts. But for some of us, actually working with thoughts is helpful from the beginning, or we have enough steadiness or familiarity. Definitely, you can bring this to thoughts, can be really, really helpful to just have a sense of, okay, you're here, letting you in, letting you be, letting you go. And the emphasis with all of that is we're not getting hooked into the content. So this is a really helpful practice of not getting hooked, and you may have noticed it. Yeah, that's why it supports peacefulness, because we're not getting into a dialogue, not getting kind of entangled in what is going on, whether it's unpleasant or pleasant. It's just like, it's here, and we don't need to get entangled with it. And it's just one thing out of many things that are here. It's just what's in attention. And so similarly with thoughts, not getting caught, not getting sucked into the narrative, but just recognizing, you're coming. It may be that it's like moment after moment. It's just, okay, I'm letting you in because you're arising. I'm not going to try and push you away, letting you in, but I'm also not getting hooked into you. I'm not entangled in you. So letting you in, letting you be, letting you go. Yeah. And just having sometimes that slight noting. Yeah. Even if you want to emphasize the welcoming, welcome to come in, welcome to be, welcome to go, can be helpful. That emphasizes the sense of warmth. And I think there's a few more reflections. Okay. I noticed that small feelings, taste, sounds could cross a borderline of positive, negative, depending on how I built upon each mini thought by adding meaning or story. A reminder how we build our narrative and how changeable each detail can feel from moment to moment. Yeah, that's a beautiful reflection and insight, Tim. Yeah, just seeing, it can be something really minor and it gets built up. Like what you're experiencing, you're seeing dependent origination and the process of build up and how it can become a big thing. And how dependent it is on what kind of story or narrative we build it up through. So again, yeah, this is part of why this practice can be so powerful and so insightful. Yeah, build our narrative and what an impact each detail can have. Yeah, from moment to moment. And so, that both allows us to let go of the building or to attend in ways that support. So bringing in appreciation, compassion, metta can support things in a particular way that can be more towards the wholesome. Yeah. But just the letting go, brings equanimity, the fourth of these beautiful qualities. For those of you who are familiar with them, there's a let go, and there's equanimity, and there's space, and there's responsiveness. Wonderful. And there's another reflection from Harry. When trying to accept and let go, I realized a thought around work arose and the emotion that came with it. I then realized the physical reactions to this and maybe work in general. My heart rate rose, and I started having more noticeable visuals. But then I was able to take the instructions and accept what was happening, and the physical emotion subsided. Beautiful. Yeah, again, just such a beautiful way of bringing the practice in, and then the insight and seeing the whole build up. Yeah, accepting, letting go, then then there's a thought that arises, and then there's emotion that comes with the thought, and we see it, and then the physical reactions kind of that come with that. But then they also build that up. They become also participants in the whole thing. Um, and then if I can take the instructions and just let it be, yeah, this is happening, let it be, and the physical sensations and the emotions subside. Yeah, and it becomes okay. This is going on. There's these thoughts. There's these emotions. There's these physical sensations. And, you know, we can attend to them in ways that create more dukkha or less. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful reflection there again. Um, you know, beautiful ways you're practicing with this. Um, and there's also a reflection from Susan. Hey, Susan. Struggling with pain after a fall and noticing how much fighting there is, wanting it to be different. Then bringing some compassion to this body, as you say, with care. And it's interesting, yeah. I tripped over a tree root and I'm in need of my own anchor and roots. Yes, beautiful, yeah. Beautiful reflection again of just saying, oh, I tripped over a tree root, I fell down, there's pain in the body, and then there's extra pain that comes in and how relate. I don't want this pain, yeah. Yeah, I'm fighting. Yeah. I want it to be different, and then I'm fighting the wanting it to be different as well. Yeah. And so, can we put down our weapons and we stop fighting and bring compassion to this body that's struggling right now, that's in pain? Yeah. And then how interesting it is, the kind of the images of the process and just rooting back down into what we know. And you know, humility. Doesn't matter how long we've been practicing and that we know all of this, and we still get entangled and we still get caught up. And every moment of that is a possibility. Yeah. An opportunity, and then that the relief that opens up. Yeah. When that can be applied, when we remember. Yeah. So beautiful, beautiful reflections from all of you, and such a delight. Um, you know, whether we're struggling, whether we're kind of things are opening up in the practice, remembering this is possible and these are opportunities, and we're meeting our experience as it's unfolding right now, and we're letting it in, and we're letting it be, and we're letting it go. You know, whatever it is, it's struggle or it's release. Yeah. We can bring that same wise, caring attention to it. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your questions, for your practice, for your reflections, and for being here. Wonderful to be here with you again. And we will be back tomorrow for our last session this week. Go well. Go well, everyone.